Next, he mentioned some of the biggest signs that we see, which are night, day, sun, moon, heavens, and earth. For what? For proof on how you know Man Rabukk. For proof on how you know Man Rabukk. It's not a simple question. If it's simple to you, say Alhamdulillah. If it's deeply rooted in your heart, don't take it for granted that I know Man Rabukk. No. Say Alhamdulillah. That's a blessing. That's a big blessing. You know, I get a lot of calls. Hundreds and hundreds of calls. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And I try to answer all of them, and inshallah I will answer every one of them. There's a specific number of questions that are the most common ones. For example, sisters wanting to go to Syria without the idhn of their wali, without his permission. You know, those are among the top questions. Among the top questions, for example, is this matter right here. Just like that is sisters or brothers who have doubts in Man Rabukk. Amazing brothers and sisters. You can tell that they have iman, but the shaitan is working. The shaitan goes to the houses that have a lot of goodies in them. He doesn't go to abandoned houses. He goes there to destroy those houses. And that's why we need this knowledge. So when the doubts come, we fight them and resist them. That's why I say Alhamdulillah, if Man Rabukk is firmly rooted in your heart. This statement here helps a lot of those facing that struggle. The moon, the statement of the moon, the sun, the heavens, the earth, what's between them, what's in them, the night and the day. That helps a lot of those who face that struggle. Especially those when they have a calamity and their iman begins to shake. Why do you think they're repeated so much in the Quran? The beautiful sun is a sign. It's from Ayatullah. The sun that rotates upon its own axis. The sun that completes a rotation of approximately almost every 30 days. The sun, along with its planets, orbits the center of the galaxy, the Milky Way, at a speed of about 220 kilometers per second. Per second. Look at the moon. The moon doesn't follow a regular orbit like the satellites of other planets. It actually orbits the earth. It sometimes moves behind it and sometimes moves in front of it. The moon moves with the earth around the sun, and it actually follows a S-like pattern. A pattern that resembles the letter S. All that, the sun, the planets, and their satellites, and other objects are in constant motion above us. There are billions of galaxies. Billions of galaxies. They move at speeds of thousands of kilometers an hour through space. Do they ever collide with one another? وَتَرَى الْجِبَالَ تَحْسَبُهَا جَامِدَةً وَهِيَ تَمُرُّ مَرَّ السَّحَابِ صُنْعَ اللَّهِ الَّذِي أَتْقَنَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ إِنَّهُ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا تَفْعَلُونَ. When Allah talks about His creation in one of the verses, like these that we're supposed to look into and contemplate and think, He is the all-truthful, and He is the all-worthy of praise, and all of our praise. He says in it, Sun Allah, the work of Allah, what? الذي أتقن كل, who perfected all things. الذي أتقن كل شيء. The unstatic sun that moves in a definite orbit is a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم. The sun is traveling at the enormous speed of 720,000 kilometers an hour. The sun, the stars, the planets, they travel over 17 million kilometers a day. That's 17 million kilometers a day is 10.5 million miles a day. وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْحُبُكِ. A sky full of paths and orbits. When the shaitan comes knocking with those doubts, read and learn what it means when we say to look into Ayatullah, Shams, wal-Qamar, wal-Layl, wal-Nahar. When we say the sky is a miracle, is an ayah to prove Man Rabukk, do we understand what that means? 20 billion galaxies. Each galaxy has 20 billion stars in it. Most of the stars have planets. And most of those planets have satellites. Who made all those bodies move in a precise computed orbit? Who did that? Not for a year or two or a day or two or 100 years or 200 years, but for millions of years. They've been moving like that for millions of years. They move and swim in such harmony. The perfected work of Allah, الذي أتقن كل شيء. When the Iman in Mann Rabukk begins to shake, ask yourself, those galaxies traveling at that great speed in a calculated, computed, planned orbit, none of those cross the path of each other. They don't cross the path of each other. And none of them collide with each other. Who perfected that? صنع الله الذي أتقن كل شيء. Then after the moon and the sun, in their details, look into the day and the night. Didn't Allah tell us to do that? وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارُ وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ. The night in the day. The night in the day. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارُ وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ. The night changes to day in the day. How they wrap one another. يُكَوِّرُ اللَّيْلَ عَلَى النَّهَارِ. يُكَوِّر is a word used to refer to something like how one wraps a turban around his head. The day wraps to the night, and the night wraps into the day. يُكَوِّرُ اللَّيْلَ عَلَى النَّهَارِ وَيُكَوِّرُ النَّهَارَ عَلَى اللَّيْلِ. Look at the sky and look again and again and keep looking over and over. Then you will have no room for doubts in your heart. Allah said it. الَّذِي خَلَقَ سَبْعَ سَمَاوَاتٍ طِبَاقًا. Look at this verse with me. He created 7 heavens above each other. مَا تَرَى فِي خَلْقِ الرَّحْمَنِ مِنْ تَفَاوُتٍ. You can see no fault in the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت. Allah said then, look again and again. He knows we're human. He knows some may have these doubts penetrate into them. He gave us the cure to them. فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور. فارجع البصر. Look again and again. Can you see any rifts? هل ترى من فطور means, can you see any rifts? فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور. سمعنا وأطعنا. We say we hear, we obey, we adhere. Let's look again and again. The author said what's between them and what's in them. The heavens and the earth, what's between them, what's in them. Do you know Allah created the atmosphere? It's what we call in Arabiya غلاف الأرض الجوي. غلاف الأرض الجوي is what's the atmosphere. Do you know what that is? Had Allah not created the atmosphere, غلاف الأرض الجوي, millions of نيازك المريخ, they're called in English meteoroids, they would fall on this earth and the earth would become an unlivable, uninhabitable place. The sun releases energy. The sun releases, it moves, it releases energy. A single sunburst from the sun is equivalent to thousands of atomic bombs. A single burst of energy from the sun is equivalent, I think I read one time, over 100 billion atomic bombs. One burst. Allah protects us from that with a creation they call atmosphere. Doesn't that boost your iman? The atmosphere that Allah created is to protect us from the freezing colds, which range from below 300 degrees. 300 degrees below zero. Look at the sky and wonder. Do you know what they refer to, in English it's called the Van Allen belt. Do you know what that is? You know what radiation is? Before I tell you what that is. You know radiation, toxic radiation. You always see it around hospitals or chemical factories. Around hospitals, they use it for cancer patients. In fact, recently I went with a dear brother. May Allah, he's cured, alhamdulillah, now he's doing good. May Allah continue in good upon him and his family. I went with him to the hospital. He's getting a simple treatment, 1-day treatment, walking in and out. What amazed me is after I was walking out with him, out of the treatment, the doctors and staff were dodging us. The area we're in is actually for radiation. And when we would walk, or the area we sat in after he was out, he said, look at them. They walk and take a long way to avoid where we're sitting. They know that he just had a treatment and they want to avoid going near him because they know of the exposure of being near him. That's a simple dosage. That's a simple, tiny dosage of radiation. Very small, limited dosage. The sun and the stars constantly, ongoing, constantly, they always emit a deadly radiation. And just imagine with me the dosage that comes from the massive outbursts of energy. The solar flares. The solar flares coming from the sun and the stars would destroy this earth. At an altitude of about 500 miles that extends tens of thousands of kilometers and miles into space, there's what they call the Van Allen belt. A creation from Allah to shield us and protect us against harmful radiation from the sun and the stars. A perfect system. A perfect system high above us, precisely fixed and calculated to the detail, to the smallest detail. Who could have done that but Allah? Remember the story of Abu Hanifa where the atheist when he debated him, the atheist couldn't believe that a ship came into creation by chance. They couldn't believe that. But a universe could come into being by chance. Look at the Bedouin. He said the same thing we're saying in a simple, easy way. He told the atheist, you see the marks in the sand? You say it in the sand. You see those marks in the sand? What do they indicate to you, you dumb atheist? He said, a camel went by. The footsteps looked like a camel, so a camel went by. So the Bedouin responded, he said, did you see the camel? The man said, no, but these footsteps, the stupid atheist said, no, but these footsteps in the sand suggest that a camel was here. He said, they're in a desert. He said, you see those mountains? You see those mountains? They are indicative to me that Allah made them and created them. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jalla fi ula. Do you see layers on top of layers above us? Heavens? Each of those has its assigned specific duty. Duties for rain, duties to prevent, a layer to prevent harmful rays, a layer to reflect the radio waves, a layer to avert the harmful effects of meteors. Look at the mountains. Look at the mountains like the Bedouin said. What's between them? The author told us what's between them and what's in them. Look what the Bedouin said, the mountains. The great magnificent creation, mountains that have a portion like them going downwards, as large as their visible parts on top of the earth. Was that by a mistake? Could that have been a mistake? Mountains on this earth are like what you would probably say nails to keep pieces of wood together. وَجَعَلْنَا فِي الْأَرْضِ رَوَاسِيَ أَن تَمِيدَ بِهِمْ. What is in this earth and what's in it and what's between it? In 1 second, approximately 16 million tons of water evaporate from the earth. That's approximately 500 trillion tons of water in 1 year that evaporate. Isn't that a sign of Allah? If the universe with all their might and their power and their technology came to try to do that and to get the water evaporate, they couldn't do that. But do you know what's even more amazing than that? That every year, the amount of water that evaporates, Allah sends us and falls back in rain, a similar amount. A similar amount falls back. وَالَّذِي نَزَّلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً بِقَدَرٍ فَأَنْشَرْنَا بِهِ بِقَدَرٍ, in a specified amount. فَأَنْشَرْنَا بِهِ بَلْدَةً مَيْتًا كَذَلِكَ تُخْرَجُونَ. A balanced, calculated, precise amount. Every drop of rain was calculated by Allah. A continuous cycle. Any minor, slight deviation from that would mean you are not going to be existing. Nothing would be living. Look at the winds. The winds, you can't see them. They move. And they go to the water. In a precise, calculated, circulated motion, they move the water. That motion makes waves. And that's the first of many, many more steps to come that Allah created as means to bring us rain. Look at yourself, look at you, look at me. I'm not going to say, look what the verse said. وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. We're drowned above our heads in the blessings, in nourishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I won't say look at me and you from the top of our head to the bottom of our feet, but rather look at what we were created from. نُطْفَةِ الْمَنِي, the sperm that Allah created us from, a simple sperm. That simple sperm contains so many fluids that blow a mind. Did you know That simple fluid, that simple drop has a specified, precise level, calculated amount of sugar in it that gives it energy? Do you ever think about the 250 million sperms that a male emits? 250 million. Only 1,000 of them reach baydat al-untha, ovum of a woman. A rigorous journey that is like a 5-minute race to reach the ovum of a woman. The ovum is half the size of a grain of a salt. Out of the 1,000, only one of those sperms reach it. Perfect world of Allah, 250 million to 1,000 to 1 to reach its destination in a 5-minute race in a journey. For an atheist, all that, for an atheist bum to come and say, who did that? Who created that? I don't believe. فَإِذَا هُوَ خَصِيمٌ مُبِينٌ أَوَلَمْ يَرَى الْإِنسَانُ أَنَّا خَلَقْنَاهُ مِنْ. We created him min nutfa. We created him from nutfa, from a drop. Yet he comes as an opponent. فَإِذَا هُوَ خَصِيمٌ مُبِينٌ. Does not all that, or just a glimpse of that, give you the full tranquility and yaqeen of who my Lord and your Lord is? To our brothers and sisters who are facing these doubts in Mann Rabukk, look into the ayat, look into the creation, and wallahi, it will leave you no room. But look at it. When you look at it, contemplate. Like the Quran says, yatafakkar. Think about it. Don't just look in your eyes. No, it's looking, the kind of looking that makes you think. Don't feel bad that doubts came to you. The shaitan of the humans and shaitan of the ins will always come after you. But you have to take measures to resist those doubts and fight them. If you don't fight them, then that's when you're doomed. It's not about the doubts coming to you. That's not the problem. The problem is if you don't fight them and resist them. Allah in countless verses in the Quran told us what the author here told us. He took it from the Quran. The author took it from the Quran. Look in the heavens and the earth. أَوَلَمْ يَنْظُرُوا. Look in the heavens. أَوَلَمْ يَنْظُرُوا فِي مَلَكُوتِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Look in the kingdom of the heavens and the earth. وَمَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Look into it. Think about it. أَوَلَمْ يَتَفَكَّرُوا فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا إِلَّا بِالْحَقِّ. Do they not think deeply in their own selves about how Allah created them from nothing and how He will resurrect them? Few more, inshallah. I read a hadith in Bukhari. Hadith. And I ask you to apply it every morning. It's a sunnah. Look at the hadith. عن ابن عباس رضي الله عنهما قال بت عند خالتي ميمونة. Ibn Abbas said, I spent the night with my aunt Maymuna. Who's a Maymuna? Maymuna bint al-Harith. She is, radiallahu anha, our mother, the wife of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. She's also the aunt of Ibn Abbas. So he said, I spent the night in her house. Where did he spend the night? He spent the night in Maymuna's house, which is the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam's house, and it was the night he spent with Maymuna. فتحدث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم مع أهله ساعة ثم رقد. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم talked to his wife, talked to Maymuna for a little bit, then went to sleep. And this is actually a side issue. One of the common questions, like I told you, there's a lot of common. One of the common questions is how men treat their women. Look how the Prophet ﷺ treats his women. Easy, laid back, helpful, carrying the duties of his wives. The tasks of his wives was his tasks. The duties of his wives was his duties. Humble. We have some brothers' treatments to their weak wives. The woman is weak. That makes the heart melt sometimes. Sometimes some people are tyrants in their houses, Fir'auns in their houses, yet house cats outside. Here Ibn Abbas states this little detail that the Prophet ﷺ had what we would call today a heart-to-heart chat with his wife before he went to sleep. Look how beautiful that is. The best man to walk on this earth. فَلَمَّا كَانَ الثُّلُثُ اللَّيْلِ الْآخِرِ. When it was the third end of the night, 1/3 end of the night, and this is the point why we're mentioning this hadith. You do that every morning. When it was at 1/3 end of the night, he got up. The Prophet ﷺ got up. Got up to look and think. He got up and looked at the sky. فَقَالَ إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ he looked at the sky, then he recited إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب. ثم قام فتوضأ واستنى فصلى 11 ركعة ثم أذن بلال فصلى ركعتين. Then after looking into, he looked in the sky, he recited إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب. The verses at the end of Ali Imran. Do that. Look, every morning when you wake up, get up in the winter, open your door, go outside and look and recite إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب. What do those verses mean? Verily, in the creation of the heaven, in the earth, and in the alteration of the night, in the day, there are indeed signs for men of understanding. This is before he did anything. This is how he started his day. This is the start of the day. Before praying his qiyam, he got up, he looked to the sky and read إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that you look in the sky and you get reward for it if you do it for because the Prophet ﷺ did it, reciting إن في خلق السماوات والأرض. You get ajr for looking in the sky and reciting those verses. Not only do you get ajr for that, but it's an iman booster to start your day with, to cleanse your heart and mind from any doubts the shaitan may give you and put and instigate you in the matter of Mann Rabukk. Then after that, he made wudu. Then he made sunnah. And then he prayed 11 rak'at. Then Bilal called for adhan. Then he would pray 2 rak'at, sunnah of fajr. Then he would go to the masjid. Why did he look into the sky? Why did he look into the sky before anything? Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Why did he recite those specific verses when he was looking into the sky? Look at this hadith, this beautiful hadith. In the creation of the heavens and the earth, and in the alteration of the night in the day, there are indeed signs for those who think, those who comprehend, those who have minds. لآيات لأولي الألباب. Start your day like that. That's your vaccination to kill doubts, to keep you confident in your Lord and your Creator, the one who sustains you, nourishes you. If you're going to work, or you're going to school, or you're going to interview, or you're going to take a final, or whatever, if you're going on a normal day, after you look into the sky and you recite those verses, you go with confidence. The one who created, tell yourself, the one who created those will not let me down today. The one who created those in detail and in precise calculated way and nourishes the skies, the creator of that, he's going to protect me today. No one can defeat the creator of that. No one can defeat the creator of that heavens. So I'm confident what happens to me is going to be by the will of Allah, because no one can defeat the one who protects me, Allah. A man, an old man with no teeth. No teeth. I've seen him in prison. They asked him once, someone asked him, how you get your strength? He's sentenced to life. How you keep going? He said, all I need is to go to the yard. You know, in prison, the windows, they're basically, you can't see nothing. You see another wall. So he said, all I need is to go to the yard. And the yard is surrounded by walls. So all he can do is look above the large, high walls. Look above in this. He said, all I need is to look to the sky, and my dosage of iman is set for the day. That's all I need. A few years before my release, I met in prison for the first time in my life a brother and who became a student of mine in prison, John Lind Walker, who you may all have heard of. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasten his release. A man who became a close friend, a very close friend of mine, and a student of mine while I was in prison in my final few years. One day, inshallah, I'll mention more details about that brother. We ask Allah to raise awareness for him. May Allah hasten his release. What he would, you know, there's a time when they open the doors for breakfast in prison to let you go out. And it was a habit for this man to go to the cage that they call the yard. It's a little simple cage, like a dog cage, to go into the yard and look into the sky. And then he will walk back to his cell. Walk to the yard and back. The Quran wants you to do that, to look and think and look in the sky. It said, "Farji' al-basar." Look over and over again. If you look at Hamza over there, skinny Hamza, and then you got Walid, who's a bodybuilder. Hamza's arm, Walid's arm is bigger than Hamza's waist. You look at that, you compare the two. Over here we have, Allah has the supreme examples. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. You look at the heavens and the earth and you think about it and who created them, then you say to yourself, there's nothing that can escape him. That's the one I depend. That's the one I worship. That's my Lord. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُعْجِزَهُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ.
يا حليما يا كريما ما لفضلك من نفادي يا سميعا